Shita from ISC department. Let me explain about the TC project. My topic is what are the steps to build a multi-language translator, a app in the React using a Google Translation API streamer services. I have to share the screen. This is a front end of API. Import React use state from the React import app is React the use state are improved from the React library app CSS imported for styling your components. JSS function this defines the function or component of a app. JSS constant input test input test use state constant output state is set output state use state constant from the language set from language use state constant to language to set state use state is constant is loading self is loading use state is false. Input test holds the user input, output test holds the translated output from language, source the language to language, target the language is loading, indicate whether translating is in the program. Next, constant language code en name is equals to English, code en name is equals to Tamil, Spanish, Germany, Italian, Portuguese, Russia, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Hindi, Arabic, Bengali, Tamil. This means the array, the language supported translator with each language having a code display name. Constant Hindi translate language. This function handles the translation logic. If the input test terminal return prevent the translation in the empty white space. Is loading is true, starts loading a state to showing a translate on the button. Next, try constant URI this code, encode the URI components, fetch URL, constant data is equals to await, response JSON. This makes an API calls a my memory translation API, encoding the inputs test chosen the languages. If data is a response state is equals to 200, the set out test data is response data trying selected test. If the response is successful, set all the translated test. Else, set output test transition error plus data is response message. If not successful, display the error message. JSS catch error, enclose the error, enclose the error JSS catch try enclosed error translation error is equals to error set output test transition server error occurred. Finally, set is load is false catches my fetches error reset loading status at the end. Constant handles swap a language swap a language set from the language set to a language temp set input test output test set output test is equals to input test. Swap this means swap from the language and to a language and swap the input output test as well as. Next, JSS return class name is equals to app, h1 app is equals to translate. This is the main container of the title. Class name is equals to translate container, class name is equals to language selector, value from function, language no change, self from language targeted value. This means drop down the source of the language. Language is equal to map, language optional, key language code, value language code is means collates the option from the language array. Select the button on click. Select the button on the click handle a swap language. Class name is equals to swap button. Button to swap a language. JS select the value to language to change the set language. E target the value language is equals to map language. Option key language value language code. Option to select. Drop down the target language. Divide class name is equals to test areas. Test area value is equals to input test. No changes. E. C. Set input test. E target value. Placeholder the entire test. To translate class name is equals to input test here. Input field for user test. Test area value is equals to output test area. Read only. Placeholder is equals to translation will appear here. Class name is equals to output test area. Output field for transition read only. This is a transition button. JSS button on click handle a translator. Name is equals to translator button. Disables is loading a input test train. Is loading translating a translate button. Divide. This closes. Button is triggered to shows a transition in API loading. JSS export default app makes this component available for use other part of the app like index JSS. Go to this is the output. Output we have to test here. Translate to Spanish. It's translated. Thank you.